Since my mother passed away, my Mill and Kate have been showing up at my house every time I'm alone. You're not going to give anything to your husband's mother and sister who came all the way here to visit you? I'll get pizza again, and you pay for it. Kate just laughs alongside her. I've been living in this hell for 2 years now. My son and daughter have both gone off to college in the city. However, one day when it was just my husband, Tom, and me at home, he dropped a bombshell. Starting next week, my parents and my sister's family are moving in, so you need to clear out your room. On top of that, Tom told me I was in the way and should leave. This house was originally my parents' house, and I can't allow them to kick me out. So I made a quick decision and took some steps. All right, I'll clear out the whole house. Tom smirked mischievously. Clueless Tom left for a business trip. I immediately made a call to a place to carry out the procedure I had planned. I took care of everything before Tom got back, and I left the house. I could already picture the look on Tom's face when he returned. My name is May Green. I am a 48-year-old housewife who has lived in my parents' home since I got married. After graduating high school, I went to college in New York and spent my single years working there. But during a visit to my hometown, I was roped into a local matchmaking party aimed at revitalizing the area. I had no intention of returning to the countryside, but people around me forced me to go. I'm easily swayed and have a hard time saying no when asked. The local men, who didn't have many opportunities to meet women, were desperate. Everyone had a hungry look in their eyes, eagerly searching for a potential match in all directions. The atmosphere was intense, and I just planned to wait it out. Sitting quietly next to me was a man. That man was Tom Green, who is now my husband. I was bored, so I served him some food. In return, he brought me some dishes too. Tom was quiet but very earnest, and I gradually grew fond of him. I didn't have a boyfriend in New York, and my job wasn't particularly demanding. Besides, by that time, my father had already passed away, and I had no siblings, so my mother lived alone at home. I was getting tired of city life, so the idea of settling down in my hometown didn't seem so bad. I married Tom and moved back to my family home. Tom was fine with living with my mother since his sister, Kate, was already living with her husband at their parents' house. We had a son and a daughter and enjoyed a happy married life. But after my mother passed away and the kids left home, disaster struck. Tom, who was quiet from the beginning, continued to be reserved even after marriage. He didn't get involved much in parenting either. Tom was like Ward Cleaver, calm and easygoing. I was close to my mother, being an only child, and always consulted her about everything. With her help, I think I was able to raise my kids in the best way possible. All of that changed after my mother passed away. My mother's joy was taking care of the family, so she lost her spirit when the kids left for college. Soon after she passed away, I thought I would finally have some peaceful time with Tom now that it was just the two of us. After my mother passed away, Tom's personality changed as if he turned around. The once quiet Tom suddenly started calling me you and became really arrogant. Hey, you, if you're not busy, make me some tea. Every day, he lounges in the living room, bossing me around. He never even used to lie down outside of the bedroom. What happened? Was he just being considerate of my mom all this time? Now, he's become someone I hardly recognize, acting all high and mighty. I guess he wants to let loose now that he doesn't have to worry about my mom, but the change is so drastic it's shocking. Even our kids, who occasionally come back to visit, are stunned by the change in him. When the kids are home, Tom doesn't budge from the living room, glued to the TV. If the kids try to change the channel, he snaps, "Hey, get out of here." This makes the kids quite unhappy. Since it was mostly me and my mom who raised them, they feel uncomfortable with Tom asserting himself so much. Initially, they used to come home every holiday, but now they only come for Christmas and New Year's. Tom's behavior has gotten out of hand just because my mom isn't around anymore. I couldn't take it any longer and tried to gently address it with Tom. "Hey, you've changed a lot recently. What's going on?" "Changed? What are you talking about? Since my mom passed, you become more irritable. You used to be so quiet." Tom's eyes flared up, and he responded in a harsh tone. "What are you talking about? I was always considerate of your mom. Now that she's gone, I'm the boss here. If I don't like something, I'll say it." I had never seen Tom so scary before, and I recoiled in fear. It seems he had been bottling up his feelings all this time because of my mom. I never imagined Tom would change so drastically. Since then, I've been walking on eggshells around him. My troubles didn't end with my mom's passing. I work part-time until 3 p.m., then come home to do household chores. When my mom was alive, we'd enjoy tea together at that time. But now, it's a depressing part of my day. When I get home, my Mill and Kate are waiting at the door. Oh, May, you're quite late. We've been waiting in the cold for 40 minutes. Yeah, May, we knew you got off work at 3 p.m., so we came to see you. Why are you so late? These two show up at my house every day at the time I finish my part-time job. My Mill and Kate live with their spouses at the in-laws' house. Kate, now named Kate Williams after marriage, brought her husband to live with them, just like us. They don't have kids, and Kate, who hasn't worked in years, is always glued to her mom. When my mom was alive, I thought my Mill and Kate were nice people. But like Tom, they've become quite pushy since my mom's death. I'm sorry, I went shopping on the way home. If I show any irritation, I'll just get more complaints later, so I apologize and let them in. So, I always end up letting them in the house. When we enter the house, I have to change my clothes and put away what I have shopped for first. But before I can do that, my Mill starts nagging. You're not going to give anything to your husband's mother and sister who came all the way here to visit you? I'll get pizza again, and you pay for it. Kate just laughs alongside her. It's nearly 4 p.m., yet they want to order pizza, and I always have to pay. I've been living in this hell for 2 years now. Of course, I tried talking to Tom, but he never took my side. Mom and Kate are just trying to cheer you up since you lost your mom. Complaining will bring bad luck. But every time they come over, they always eat pizza, and I always pay for it. That's why we don't have enough money every month. Then manage better. If it's not enough, find a higher paying job. You always took good care of your parents but treat my family coldly, don't you? When he says this, I can't come up with a response. I don't want to quit my current job because the people there are really nice. And I never neglected my in-laws despite living in my family home. I always attended Tom's family gatherings and personally delivered holiday gifts to his parents' house. In the past, Mill and Kate were always kind whenever I visited. Why did their attitudes change so drastically after my mom died? I didn't know what to do, and the stress kept building up. Amidst these stressful days, something even more shocking happened. One night, Tom came home from work and said something unbelievable. Starting next week, my parents and my sister's family are moving in, so clear out your room. What? Why all of a sudden? I was in a panic over the sudden news. What do you mean why? I just told you. Everyone's moving in this Saturday, so hurry up. This Saturday? That's only 3 days away. Tom had decided this with his family without consulting me at all. Don't make such decisions on your own. This house originally belonged to my family. Shut up. No matter where it came from, I'm the head of this household now, so I make the decisions. No more complaints. I was so stunned by his harsh words that I dropped the plate I was washing. It shattered on the floor. You're so clumsy. That's why I don't want to be around you anymore. What do you mean by that? I was taken aback by his words and wanted to know what he meant. Tom replied with a nasty grin. I'm going to make this very clear. My mother and sister both like this house and want to live here, but they don't like you. I don't want to be with you either. So, you're in my way, so you need to leave. What? Oh, and as I said, clean out all your stuff. I'm on a business trip for the next 3 days, so get it done by then. Tom's cruel treatment was too much. I was so angry that I made a quick decision. All right, I'll clear out the whole house. Tom gave a malicious smile. Well, I expected more resistance, but you're surprisingly obedient. Tom was very pleased, thinking everything was going his way. Little did he know that he would regret his actions in 3 days. The next morning, oblivious Tom left for his business trip. I immediately made a call to a place to carry out the procedure I had planned. And before Tom came home, I made all the arrangements and left the house. I can imagine Tom's surprised face when he comes home after this. I headed to my daughter, Emma's apartment in New York. I had contacted Emma 3 days earlier. I've been waiting for you, Mom. Did you finish everything? Yes, it's all done. I'm sorry for imposing on you like this. It's fine, but Dad is so awful, trying to kick you out suddenly. Yes, but I gave him a proper surprise before I came here. He'll be shocked when he gets home. We both laughed heartily. There was a reason I came to Emma's place. Late that night, as expected, Tom called. Hey you, what is this all about? The house is completely empty. What happened to the furniture and appliances? Oh, you told me to clear out all my stuff? I said to clear out your room. I didn't mean the whole house. Sure, Tom initially said to clear out my room, But then he told me to take all my things and get out. You want me to leave, right? So I got rid of all my furniture and appliances that I inherited from my mom. Now your family can move in without any problems, right? What I did over these past 3 days was start by having a recycling company take away all the furniture and appliances I had been using. Then, I contacted a moving company to send the kids' things and my essentials to Emma's apartment. I felt bad about imposing on Emma, but she was eager to help me give Tom a dose of his own medicine. Tom was silent for a moment, then spoke in a slightly troubled voice. Actually, my parents and my sister's family moving in was a lie. My mom and sister are both on the verge of divorce. Oh, I see. So they're running away to you. I replied as if I knew it all along. What? You're not surprised? Both of them might get divorced. I knew. Huh? Tom sounded dumbfounded. In the past 3 days, I had also contacted my Phil and Kate's husband, Ryan. So I knew exactly what was happening at their house. Ryan, who is originally from New York, got interested in a matchmaking event aimed at revitalizing our area and participated as a trial. Kate, who also attended, became infatuated with him and pressured him, along with her mom, into marriage. He ended up living with them at their request. Post-marriage, my mill doted on Kate, and they did whatever they wanted, making Ryan's life hard. Kate stopped cooking altogether when she started visiting me in the evenings. Well, considering they ate so much pizza in the evenings, it's not surprising at all. After 2 years of this, my Phil got fed up and told Mill and Kate to leave. I felt a sense of relief hearing this from Ryan. Tom, knowing his mom and sister were about to be kicked out, decided to take them in. They will be moving into our home with only the bare minimum of belongings, so without furniture and appliances, they will be in trouble. Tom's supposed business trip was actually to beg his dad to let them stay, but he refused, so Tom ended up helping them pack. After I shared everything I learned from Ryan, I faintly heard Mill's voice over the phone saying, "What a calculated wife." Apparently, she was eavesdropping behind Tom. "May, how could you do this? We can't live in a place with nothing in it." "Yeah, how dare you contact my husband without my permission? You're a horrible woman." Kate was also there. "Oh, are you in trouble? By the way, I asked your husband to forgive you both. He said after cooling off for a night, you can come back tomorrow morning." "Really?" Kate and Mill started celebrating, holding hands. "May, I take back what I said. You're not so bad after all." Tom sounded disappointed that he had brought them here, only for them to leave again. "Well, that's good for them, but what about me? Can't you return the appliances at least?" "Oh, by the way, I also started the process of selling the house since I cleared everything out, so you'll need to leave soon." What? Tom sounded stunned. "I'm your husband. You can't do this to me." "Oh, didn't you try to kick me out? That's pretty harsh too." Tom was silent, unable to argue, and then I added, "Oh yes, all your things are in the house, right? Look in the drawer of the small desk that you use. I filled out my side of the form, so you'll have to sign yours too." I heard Tom's footsteps rushing to the back room where his desk was. Tom opened the drawer and muttered, "Teach, this is a divorce paper." "That's right. Once you sign it, please submit it." "You've got to be kidding. Why should I have to get a divorce?" "Well, you wanted me to leave, right? That's basically the same as separating." Tom never imagined that his own actions would lead to this. He went silent, and then I heard him softly crying. Then, in a tearful voice, he pleaded, "Please, I'm sorry. I'll treat you better from now on. Just give me another chance. Please, believe me." Despite his words, I couldn't forgive him for prioritizing his family and trying to kick me out. If he had consulted me about taking in his mom and sister, things might have been different. But he decided to kick me out to make room for them, and that's something I couldn't overlook. My mind was made up. The next morning, Kate called. "May, you liar. When we got home, Dad and Ryan were gone, and the house was already sold." Kate was furious, but I stayed calm. "I didn't lie. I said you could come back, but I never said your dad and Ryan would be there waiting." I could hear Kate and Mill cursing in the background. Then Mill noticed an unmarked envelope in the mailbox, opened it, and shouted, "What?" It contained a letter from Phil to Mill and Kate, along with signed divorce papers from Phil and Ryan. I already knew what the letter said. Phil had long been fed up with Mill's stubbornness and selfishness. He had been considering moving to a senior living facility for some time. This incident solidified his decision, and he sold the house. Ryan, who had suffered from Mill's favoritism and Kate's selfishness, was also leaving to return to his family in New York. "May, do something." We have nowhere to live. I'm not involved in this. Why don't you go to Ryan and beg for forgiveness? But proud Kate couldn't bring herself to ask for help. She started sobbing. Mill tried to comfort her. Then Mill grabbed the phone and shouted, "You heartless witch." Her outburst surprised me, but I saw it as a desperate act. I kept my composure and said, "All right, take care, Mill and Kate. Goodbye." I heard a faint "wait" from the other side, but I hung up. I had no desire to be caught up in their chaos any longer. Their selfish actions brought this misfortune upon them, yet they still saw me as the villain. Well, since I'll be divorcing Tom soon, those two will be complete strangers to me. They would soon be out of my life forever. Tom delayed submitting the divorce papers, so I had to take legal action. Eventually, we finalized the divorce. Tom demanded half of his share from the sale of the house, but that did not go through because it was determined that the house was not joint property. What am I supposed to do? I have no place to live. Tom shouted at me in the courtroom, but the judge stopped him. Tom, now completely dejected, earned no sympathy from me. Had he shown any remorse for his family's intrusion into our lives, things might have been different. My marriage to Tom ended in the worst way possible. Since then, Tom has been looking for a new place to live with his divorced Mill and Kate. It's in the middle of nowhere, so there are no affordable business hotels or internet cafes. According to local friends who saw them, the three were sleeping in a park, using cardboard boxes for shelter. At first, Tom contacted me, asking for help, but those calls stopped, likely because his phone service was cut off. Eventually, I heard rumors that they managed to move into a nearly abandoned apartment on the outskirts of town. It seems they're surviving on Tom's earnings, but supporting Mill and Kate, who have never worked, must be challenging. Kate, who is still young enough to work, hasn't started working either. Her pride prevents her from taking any job where she might be bossed around, no matter how tough their situation gets. Lately, Mill and Kate's loud arguments have been disturbing the neighbors. Mill, who I once thought was just overly protective of her family, now finds Kate, who refuses to work, a nuisance. Tom, not enjoying his home life with those two, has been spending a lot of time at the local casino. Most of his hard-earned money likely goes toward gambling. Local friends keep me updated on their situation through texts and calls. While it doesn't really matter to me anymore, I can't help but feel a bit of schadenfreude. Now, I live in New York. Just before the divorce, I had consulted with Ryan, who had already divorced Kate and returned to New York. Ryan's brother owns a food company, and he offered me a job there. I stayed with Emma for a while, and Ryan helped me find my own place. Thanks to his help, I now live in a small apartment by myself. I'm incredibly grateful to Ryan for all his support. Having gone through similar hardships, Ryan and I understand each other well. We both attended that ill-fated matchmaking event and found spouses who weren't right for us, a strange twist of fate. That matchmaking event hasn't been held for many years now. Despite everything, I still care about my hometown. I wondered if fewer people were getting married in that area anymore, and I was a little worried about the possibility of depopulation. However, it seems that matchmaking events have simply disappeared because the younger generation now uses convenient apps and other services. Many young couples in my hometown have met through apps. Additionally, many remote workers are moving to rural areas for cheaper housing. My friends tell me that the influx of young people is revitalizing our hometown. It's heartening to hear about the positive changes, even from afar. One day, I might return to my hometown and enjoy a peaceful retirement in the countryside. I'm even considering remarrying, and I've started dating Ryan with that in mind.